positive energy and good vibrations from me to you. You have now tuned in to Imperfect Fathers Podcast.
You're
You.
what it do, yo? What it do, y'all? Positive energy and good vibrations from me to you. It's your boy, RJD, the Imperfect Gentleman. And yes, this is another dope episode of the Imperfect Fathers Podcast. Yo, KB, what it do, King?
Man, I'm here maintaining, living life, enjoying life, winning
Mm.
life. You understand me? As long as we're still here, there's still hope. So, you understand me? It's another day to get it right with the Father, get it right with ourselves, get it right with our significant others. You understand me?
Yo, listen, that's what it's all about, yo. Like all the distractions that we got with social media and the news and everything that we got going on around us, it's trying to get us our eyes off of the prize, which is the balancing act between all those things you mentioned: our Father, our people, ourselves, our spiritual, our natural, our emotional, all those things, man. That's what it's all. That's what it's truly all about, right?
Facto.
Once we get down to the core of things, but you guys know around here we got to follow protocol. With that being said, we're going to talk to our pops. We pay the bills around here. Heavenly Father, we thank you again and again and again for life, health, and strength. We say it every week, but we don't take it for granted. We understand that this is not going to always be here. So while we do have the chance, we'll give you the praise. We'll give you the honor. We'll give you the glory because we do understand it all belongs to you. So right now, Father, we ask you as we go across the airwaves, look over us as we go, as we be inspiration and entertainment as well as motivation to a father out there to be the best version of himself, and not just himself, but for his family and community. These are our prayers, God. Do these things in Jesus' name. We do pray. Amen.
Amen.
Yes. So this beautiful podcast is always brought to you by those guys over at It's Now or Never Entertainment. Check me out and hear me good for all your music needs, whether it be hip hop, gospel, R&B, or neo soul. And neo soul is favorite, y'all. Check this out. Go over there and get any kind of music you need for any kind of project, whether it be your reels, a movie, short clips, you name it. He has music for all occasions. And if you go over there and check out the very extensive catalog of music, you'll get 50% off on any beat in the catalog store for 50% off if you use the word imperfect. So be smart, shop black, shop It's Now or Never, ENT. And let them know the guys over Imperfect Father sent you. So
No
now
doubt.
we got the bill. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Right. We got it. We got to pay both sponsors because both are faithful. For the other
Yes,
paid
sir.
sponsor of this beautiful podcast, Cassie's Classic Design. Once again, tonight we're not in a uniform. You know, things, life happens. But as usual, I'm sitting in
Right, right.
some. We got a little. You know what I mean? Got a little thing that she didn't put her hands to, like cups, hats, signs, you name it. Cassie's Classic Design can bring it to life. So for all your print needs, holla at her either on Instagram at Cassie's Classic Design or Gmail at Cassie's Classic Design at gmail.com. Now the bills are officially paid. Yo, KB, man, we about to have a conversation about something spicy.
Let him. Let's talk to him. What are we talking about tonight?
Yo, tonight we're gonna talk about
Oh,
do we
God damn.
think do we think that now we can't even say women, bro. We gotta say people on this one. Yeah, it's just your audio right now, but
Yeah,
um,
my gimbal went dead, so
nah, no worries, no worries. So we're going we got to change up a little bit because at first we was gonna say is it just women, but we gotta put the fellas in it too, right? We gotta throw ourselves in this equation, and the equation is should men or women push monogamy if they're not willing to give it up?
simple answer to me, bro. It's a real simple answer to this.
Yeah, we have similar simple answers for definite reasons for similar reasons as well as we both know, but like for the sake of this conversation, we're about to dive into this from many different perspectives because I think
Absolutely.
that's what makes a wholesome conversation, and that's where the growth is involved. So
I I I also believe it's also nuanced. Like even though I'm saying it's simple for me because of where I sit, but
right,
you understand me? So I think it's super nuanced and depending on your situation, and will cause for a different answer.
Right.
So we'll we gonna dive deep into this thing, man.
Right. Because my first I guess jab at this would be we gotta distinguish where we're looking at this from, right? Are we looking at this from the view, the optics of a single individual, right,
Hmm.
who's dating, right? So, or we're looking at it as an individual who's in the process of getting married, right, engaged in that
Hmm.
space, or and then we have to look at the space of someone who's been married for a very short time, right,
Facts.
as well as looking at the last one, which is someone who's been married for a longer
Uh,
extent period of time.
this is gonna be good.
Because it is like there's multi layers to this, and like I love this conversation. And shout out to my man Brent, right? Because he's the one that I guess we can call it put the gasoline to the fire for this one because he threw it in the group chat. And when I seen this, like like during the day, I put my phone on focus and like so I get my work done, and then I'll come back in later in the evening and read all through like the threads of the group chats and all those things. And I read through it, I was like, oh, I see what Brent's doing right now. I like this. I like this conversation right here.
It, it was it was the right
What was
conversation
your
at the
first
right
thought
time.
when you read it? When you read it in the group chat, what was your first thought to it?
So my knee jerk reaction is hell no. What the hell you got going on? Like that's just my knee jerk reaction. Like I'm
Right,
the hell if you ain't giving up the cakes, what's the point? Like knee jerk. You understand
right,
me? Like,
right.
but
That initial man, right? That
yeah,
initial
absolutely. So
reaction. Absolutely.
and of course then I had to think about it, and I did come back with like it's nuanced, and
Right,
we
right,
can't just have that one answer. So it makes for a great conversation piece. So
right,
where if you're single, where are you in the relationship? Did y'all just meet last week? If
right,
y'all just met last week, and I mean, one, the conversation shouldn't be monogamy off rip. Like,
right.
um, two, if y'all been dating, then one thing
Now hold on.
I
Let's stop right there with the new daters, right? Let's dissect it piece by piece tonight. So the first part of the game is let's say you're just now dating, right? And I'm gonna keep it I'm keep it 100. Sex shouldn't be in the forefront of the conversation when you guys just meet, right? Like if that's the basis of your conversation, you're not gonna have a long term anything,
it's shallow,
right?
um,
Like it's not going
but
nowhere other than the bed.
but I won't say you won't have a long term relationship.
You're right. It's not promising that way, should I say?
What I'm gonna say, what's the relationship? What type of relationship? Because you
Right,
have those
right. You got the
that
booty calls and
you understand me,
so
that you
all right,
call
so
when
so
the
we gotta
time
be
is
very
right.
specific, right? We
Yeah.
gotta be very
So
specific. So new relationship and the potential is long term, right?
okay.
So that's a scenario. New relationship and potential is long term on both parties, right?
Now, but although I do believe that conversation about sex should absolutely take place,
Oh yeah. But like when you
don't
say
want.
conversation about sex, what do you like? Let's dive into that really quick too, because when you say conversation about sex, what do you mean when you say? Because my thing is, if the conversation is about what are your expectations about sex and your limitations,
Hmm.
things of that nature, I think is all right. It's cool, and which is healthy, right? But
I
like
agree.
me and you both know like the majority of the time, the dudes on the dude side, because we can't point the ladies on this one. On the dude side, we're not thinking of sex in that way. We're thinking about like what positions do you want to be
And
in, like all kinds of things. The ratchet thought process of the sex.
listen, do you like a thumb in your from the back? These must knows. Like, is it a no no?
And we didn't know what gates are closed.
You understand me? Like, tell me my boundaries so I don't cross them.
Right now,
Maybe it's something
now,
I'm into. You know what I'm saying? But it's worthy of the conversation. But um, but I like to tell people, um, for men, well, for and this is something I heard. I think a comedian said he's like, women can't go backwards financially, and men can't go backwards sexually.
Mm.
So if you started off busting it wide open, and you now talking about some, oh, I'm deciding that that's not what we're going to do. I need to withhold from you. That's a problem.
Mhm.
And I don't care what level you're at. If you started and we already busting it wide open, bruh, you're gonna have to maintain that busted wide open level,
Absolutely.
be, because it's gonna become a problem. Because once you cut me off, it's a I'm looking for somebody else. Well, who next?
Yo, but see, and this is why I say like, yo, and this goes with anything because I believe when you raise children, how you do anything, like how you start with somebody is how you got to finish. Like, and this is what happens when you meet somebody and you really don't meet them first. They meet your representative, right?
Yep.
What happens? Like the setup is they're looking to meet you, but you send a false version of yourself, right?
Mm.
So you're setting them up for this inevitable drop. That's when it happens. Everybody's looking around like, oh, what happened? Why are we falling out? No, the truth is you never met the person you was intending to meet.
Facts. You only met the person I wanted you to see.
Right. So now here we are in this facet of the relationship where two people are just now meeting. They're looking to be long term, but now the honesty factors are not there, right? Like the representatives are being brought to the forefront because in order for you to bring your real authentic self, you got to answer all your own questions before you interact with somebody else. Like you got to answer all your personal questions. So if you're not comfortable with your sexuality, right, within yourself, you're not going to be able to express that or even have a conversation, a wholesome conversation about it with anyone else. So if you're at the situation or the point in time where, like you said, you two are they're just meeting, and they've been sexually active already, and all of a sudden now it's a pullback. So when that happens, because it does happen, right?
Hmm.
When that happens, automatically it has to be a conversation, but the conversation has to come from a healthy place. And in order to have that healthy place, you gotta have that first conversation with yourself.
Foundation.
You gotta have that first conversation with yourself. Yo, first of all, don't take ownership of what doesn't belong to you. If the person, and this goes to men and women alike, because I've been through this myself. If the sex is slowing down, the first thing you can't do is take it personal, right? One of the first agreements: do not take it personal. Because of sex slowed up, that doesn't mean you're all of a sudden you're a horrible individual. Doesn't mean you're ugly. Doesn't mean you turn the person off. It doesn't mean any of those things that our brains naturally knee-jerk response gives us, right? Our brain does that. Not our that's not our natural instinct. Our brain wants to keep us safe, so it does that naturally. But the truth is, you got to ask yourself more deeper questions. Like, if the situation that I'm talking about, the sexually, affects me this way, why does it affect me this way?
Facts.
Right? Why does someone giving me less physical contact cause me to feel this way? And then you start getting down to the real basis of the issue, right? Because the sex is never the issue, bro. The sex is never the problem. You hear me? I'm good.
I had to change up my
Okay.
headphones because the other ones are dying.
Now, so it's never the sex. So the sex is never the issue. But in the case in which you're speaking about, right, where it's being taken back, you got to be okay with yourself first, and then go into that conversation with that person. Like, yo, what's going on? I noticed that, like, yo, listen, you ain't busting it open like you used to, right? Like that, you
You
ain't
understand
dropping it
me?
down like old times. But you know what the crazy part, KB, is? The reason why people don't have that
Hmm.
conversation is not because they don't want to have that conversation. It's because they're scared of the response. On both sides, though, because on
Yep.
the other side is scared to tell the truth, and the other person is scared of the truth.
And I want to kind of take it back a bit because the conversation based on the circumstances and where you are could change that conversation. And realistically, like let's be real honest, because if it's she's stressing over something that's going on with a family member or at work, of course that's going to slow down the all of the sex or whatever. Now it's your turn as a man to set the stage. Maybe you're gonna have to, she's stressed at work, so maybe you're gonna have to set the stage for a massage. You know what I'm saying? Like, so one, you're relieving her stress while you're setting her up to relieve yours. You know what I'm saying? So, you're gonna have to be a bit more creative, um, in getting her into that position or into that area where she wants to be intimate with you.
Right.
Um, but if we're talking about intentionally withholding,
Oh, well, that's dirty. That right there. That's
I,
different. That's a different beast right there.
it,
Hold on. Intentional withholding
yeah.
on what part of the spectrum? Because remember, we got four of them now. We got four that we're dealing with right now. We got the it's two singles and it's two married. It's the beginning singles or engaged, and then we got the newly married or the long term married. So what we got to know what spectrum we dealing with.
So the spectrum of the brand new relationship, already don't got the goods, been getting the goods, and now the goods are no longer available to me, and there hasn't been any foundation. Yeah, write that
Now,
one
hold
off.
on. So hold on. We got to establish what's the foundation because what is grounds, right? What is the grounds for reduction in intimacy? Like because I've heard, right, in my experiences, I've been in a situation where it was a spiritual thing, right? I've been in a situation
Hmm.
where it was just a flat out like a moral thing, right? And then I've been in a situation where it was just like, yo, like I'm doing something else or somewhere else, and like I just don't care what's going on right here. You know what I'm saying? So there's different facets to that.
Yeah, or give me a ring or I'm out. You understand me? So,
That's another.
um,
That's another one. Like I ain't never had that one. That's what
so no, I have most certainly have. But in terms of the spiritual thing, I've had that, been through it, and unless he is willing to take on that journey with you, it is absolutely unfair to ask him to stick around and wait.
mm, mm.
So
Is it unfair? Is it unfair? Because
it's unfair to him.
but what if, but so because now I'm being Troy for a second because when you say it's unfair, is it fair to her that she has to now to restrain her needs too? Because we as dudes we say like, oh yeah, we're not getting it, but if she's in a monogamous relationship, that means she's not getting it either.
Yeah, she decided that she's not going to be giving it up. That was unfair to me. Simple. Like, this ain't my decision. You came to me with this. Like,
So
help me help you.
so all right, bet. So KB, now I want to do this. I want to reverse this a little bit. So now, what if this was you, right? What if you was like God hit you in the head? Was like, yo, KB, listen, I need your celibacy for the next 6 months to a year. Like, I'm gonna take you to greater heights. Like, and this is showing up God. This ain't Crefno dollar. Nobody like coming. This for yourself.
Listen,
Showing up. God said like, yo, give me 6 months to a year. Boom, no sexual activities.
for this conversation to for this conversation to even take place, I would have to know without a shadow of a doubt. I'm talking about Gideon level experimenting with God. Like, God, if this is really you, make the ground wet and make the grass dry. And he does it, and I'd be like, God, if this is really you who make the grass wet and make the ground dry, okay, this might be you for real now.
Yo, so he does that, right? He does
Then it
it. And now you have a woman, right, who feels the way you feel right now. She feels it's
is
not
a
fair.
sacrifice. I mean, one thing for sure, we know if it's God appointed, then is at the very end is going to work out for my good. I mean, that's just
Mm,
biblical.
right.
So if it's indeed, or all things work together for the good for those who love the Lord. So at the end of the day, if I get to my end point and she's still standing there, she deserved the reward. And like you said, God is taking me to that higher level and all that good stuff, then great. I'm there. If she's there, perfect. If not, there's something else going to be coming down the road or
Mm,
waiting for me at that finish point. Um, and I have to be okay with that, because one thing we cannot do is put our expectations on somebody else.
mm,
And I think once we get to that point is where we run into problems. Is I expect you to still be here, even though I've made a decision based solely for me
right.
and not necessarily for you. And if so, my expectations at this point is, if you want to ride with me, this is what it's going to be. This is what it's going to take. If you can't, I completely understand.
Mm,
And I don't care what level of a relationship that you're in.
mm.
That
That's
has to be your standpoint.
that's major. Like, because here I am on the far end of the spectrum, like, thinking about my relationship. Like, it's crazy because I can't even fathom the thought, right, of me and Cassie just not being together. Like, that's not even a thought process. But just to even, I guess, just imagine it is like, what? Like, okay, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but you're absolutely
Hmm.
right though. As a human being, you can't go forward in life solely believing that you have to be with just one somebody throughout your entire existence. Because if that doesn't happen, it leaves you in a catastrophe where you feel like you can't get up or make it through life. Because myself personally, I thought that about my grandmother's relationship with myself. I thought when she closed her eyes, I would go on a killing spree. Like, I thought I was just going to put myself in a predicament where nothing mattered no more. Like, life was over for me. When she closed her eyes, it was whatever happened after that didn't matter. And
In
that was
fact,
a lie, right? That's not what happened. Nowhere near it. So,
but here's the thing though, at a certain point in your life, if she was to pass early, that exactly probably would happen.
right,
But God allowed her to for you to get to this point in your life where, one, you got a lot to lose. Two, you've been taking in so much knowledge that it's a bit easier to take in and not necessarily react, because your point of maturity has gotten to this point. Now,
absolutely.
the Rod that I first met, it had been some bleeding in the streets.
Yo, and like, yo, when I look back at life, I say to myself, thank God for the growth, because all the nonsense that I was dying for, right? Like, I was literally dying for nonsense. I look back now and it's like, yo, like, I wouldn't even give that half a moment of my time. You know what I'm saying? And then when just to bring
Hmm.
the conversation back to the relationships, that's about like not having sex, is like, yo, it's about honesty, yo. Like, if you and a person that on whatever level, like on whatever four level we spoke about in the relationships, if you're new in relationships or you're old on both sides, either single or married, yo, if you can't be honest with the person that you are trying to communicate with, what you're trying to move forward with, you can't move forward. Like, you'll think you're moving forward. Like, time will elapse. Let me not try to trick you. Time will continue to move, but the growth and the strength in the relationship will never happen. It will stay. You like it's like that show. The what is it? 41st Dates with Adam Sandler. When every single day is the same
Hmm.
day. That's what happens in relationships, because every single day y'all living the same day over and over again. There's no growth between neither one of you because there's no honesty. If you can't tell the person you with, like, yo, KB, let me tell you something. There are things sexually, like that me and my wife discussed that at first you think like, oh, why are y'all discussing that? Because we have no limitations about our honesty. Like, if she likes something sexually, she doesn't have a fear of me clowning her or feeling some kind of way to bring it to me. The
Fact though.
same way I understand, like, yo, if there's something sexually that I want, she's willing to do it, regardless of what it is. So, obviously, within reason, right? Just say that for the people listening, within reason. But
F that. If y'all don't like it, tune in somewhere else. To be like, hey, no, we don't have to. We ain't putting this on no silver platter for you if you don't like it. Because him and his wife get down, however him and his wife get down. They hanging from a ceiling fan. That's how they doing it. They hanging from a ceiling fan. Like I
listen,
did. The only reason I haven't done it from a ceiling fan is yet because I haven't figured out how to do it yet. But it's coming.
and I honestly, I ain't found no screws and pins strong enough yet to hold this 215.
Starting
And yeah,
again, I haven't figured it out.
but niggas over here swinging on fans. Trust that though. But it's about seriously about the honesty, because like, yo, like, after being married now for this long, and I don't say like this long like I'm such an old individual, but been married for about 7-8 years now, and been with her for about 15 years. And there's so many reasons throughout time, right? Even through each phase, we've been through each phase, and we're still going through the defining one. Each phase, there's different reasons to why sex could either be, and this is where it gets tricky. There's wording of it, because if sex is withheld, there's a problem. If sex is just not happening, it's a different story. But when sex is being withheld, that's when it's an issue.
You preaching, Doc. You preaching. Because I'm trying to tell you, if it's something that's being withheld, I'm by nature,
Mhm.
I'm thinking it's me.
Right.
And just like you coming back to how you were saying earlier, I'm thinking it's either something with me, and now my confidence is taking a hit
Mm.
because I'm tied to that with you, and two, now I'm going to looking for a confident booster,
Mm.
and that confident booster is the attention of someone else.
Right.
And again, it doesn't matter what level of relationship that you're in.
Right.
It's much easier for the person who's just coming in, yeah, as opposed to the long-term married or the just married person,
Right.
because there's other complications to it now. Y'all got some skin in the paint, and y'all trying to figure this thing out, and hopefully y'all figure it out before it gets to that point.
Oh, let me tell you, like, this it's so crazy, because the difference in being withheld and just not having is yonder years, right? It's a major difference. So when sex is just not being had, it's circumstantial, right? Depending on the circumstances. You gotta factor in the monthly cycle. You gotta factor in life itself.
Hmm.
You gotta factor in if there are kids involved. You gotta factor in what life has to offer, which is literally endless,
Absolutely.
right? So those things can always interrupt, but they won't prohibit, right? They'll interrupt,
Yeah.
but they won't stop.
And at this point, that's when it's going back to you're having to set the mood. If she's the
Right,
one who normally deals with the kids, today you're dealing with the kids. You're making her life easier. You're cooking. You're
right,
putting all the food. You got the massage going. You got the music. You got the bath going on. And you're setting that mood for her so she's nice and relaxed and she has the energy to bust it wide open. You understand me? So,
right.
and now the other on the other hand, you're doing all this and you're consistent with it, um, and you're looking for her to bust it wide open, and she's not, and she's basically just withholding from you at this point. And you know what? And sometimes men, if that is the case, and you are looking for it, sometimes it takes doing those things consistently in
Mm.
order to get that her in that mood. Just
Ooh,
doing it the first night is
ooh,
for her. The
KB.
first night is for her. Give her her rest and
Mm,
let her go to sleep. That third night, you know what I'm
you
saying?
raising the
Maybe
bar.
you might be able to do something then.
You raising the bar on these men out here, KB. Like that consistent work is because when you first said it, right, you was like, you do it, you get what you want out of the deal. That's novice level, right? That's novice level. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna do it tonight so I can get this instant gratification. But that expert level is do those things consistently.
Let me con-
Mm.
and your knob will never be dry.
Never listen, listen, KB. So when you were saying that just now about the whole busted wide open thing, I wrote down busted wide open equals dropping dick off, right? So check this out. The same way we as men want women to bust it wide open, they want us to drop dick off. And I'm gonna say this, ladies, respectfully. The same way you want a man consistently to cater to your needs to get you in those moods, don't forget
Mm-hmm.
that he has those same needs. Like, yes, our
And
bodily
desires.
functions, our bodily proportions, those things wake up a lot faster than some may do on your bodies, right? Like we're more physically inclined to want to arise and do things more often than you guys are. Granted, but one thing you got to realize is that that man still has a desire for you to wake that man up, right? We can wake him up ourselves.
You're preaching, Doc. Keep preaching.
Like,
Talk to the church.
you can
Talk to
we can
him.
wake the man up. Like we know how to wake him up. Don't get me wrong. Like we know how to get him to stand at attention. Hello, somebody, right?
Hello.
But the truth is, there are times where the same way you want things to lead up to that, so would we, right?
Yep.
So the same way you want
I don't
things to
mind seeing you come into the room with a nurse outfit.
mm, the same way your panties get tingly when you see him operating in the house and functioning like the man that's actually taking part in the home and helping you do the things, and you watching him clean up and move around with the children. Think to yourself those same thoughts, like, let me set this evening up so he can enjoy the night, so he can drop this dick off, right? Like, we got to understand, like, this is an equal playing field. I don't know where in society or how in the beginning of things have been so lopsided on so many facets of relationships. But
This is a whole fact.
this is literally a give and take. The laws of nature is cause and effect, y'all. If you want an effect, you got to do the cause. Like, if you want them to drop the dick off, you gotta do the cause. If you want her to bust it wide
I'm
open,
trying to tell you.
you gotta do the cause. Now we got that established, right? Now we know how to lay the path for the dropping off the dick off and the busting it wide open. We have laid the foundational ground to get to those things, right? Now, when those things are done, right, we're qualifying those things on both sides, a level playing field being done on all areas of relationships, right? All four areas. And sex is now being withheld, KB. Now, this is the part where the knee-jerk response actually equals to the full head-on response, which is there's a problem with that. There's a major issue with that.
Yep.
And I've learned to.
And
Okay, what you saying?
no, I was gonna say we need to get down to the bottom of it, especially
Right.
the married couples. This needs to be conversed.
Right.
There's no way for it to survive. Rather, um, it needs to be conversed. What is it that I'm not doing that's getting you to the point that you want to lay with me, or what is it that I'm doing that have you withholding from me?
Right.
And so that needs to be addressed.
And
And
also,
at
too,
the end of the day, withholding is all wrong. You
right,
say what?
it is all wrong. It is all wrong too. But I also think timing has something to do with it. Because now, I'm not saying withholding is right in any facet, but if there's something that's not allowing you to release yourself and get there sexually, then yes, you have to withhold until you get whatever that is established correct. You got to get that correct, because now I have situations that I'm actually dealing with, coaching men through that, yo, we're not talking about KB. We're talking about long-term marriages, right? We're on this far side of the spectrum now.
Yeah.
Long-term marriages, and we're talking about not being sexually active. I don't mean for 7 hours, 7 days, 7 weeks. I'm talking about 7 to 8 months. Yeah.
I need to get comfortable.
And what
I'm trying to tell you, ain't enough Pornhub in the world.
Yo, and this is what I'm saying, because what I know is my experience in life. And this may sound graphic, so if you got your children listening to this and you don't want them to hear anything too graphic, you might want to remove them from the area. Yo, you can only jerk off but so much before your body naturally wants something physical. I'm telling you this not from a book, not from some kind of chemical experiment, from my own personal experience.
You're preaching, Doc. I'm trying to tell you.
I don't care how much you do it. You can jerk off until you're cross-eyed. I promise you.
Please don't.
Yeah, well, whatever you do, don't do that. But
You understand me?
You will not satisfy the hunger you naturally have for intercourse. I don't care.
Absolute fact.
I don't care what kind of stimulation you're trying to give yourself, or what kind of porn. I don't care what it is you're doing. You're not going to get that. And then which is going to innately put you in a position to what? To go out here and put yourself in a position.
And bust it wide open with somebody else.
Right.
So there was a study done, and I can't tell you exactly where it was done. I was listening to this fitness guy, and he was like, your body knows the difference between you pleasing yourself and you being with a woman.
Absolutely.
And it says that the level of the testosterone level of that man who is with the woman is far more greater than the testosterone levels of that person who's continued to please himself. So your body knows scientifically. This is a scientific fact. Like my boy be said,
yes.
It's a scientific fact. One, that we father better with the empty nut sack.
Yes. Yeah.
That
is
we do everything better.
Shout out to my man D, man. Shout out to the king, because he's absolutely right. Like, I father better.
Wow. My boy. But no, and it's something I tell the dudes. It's something I tell the kings all the time, man. You don't make decisions on an empty nut sack.
Yeah.
It's shit just go wrong.
No,
goes left.
On a full nut sack.
Yeah, you're right. On a full nut sack, you got to get that release on. And now, tell me you don't feel this. Tell me you don't feel the same. Like if you after you don't release one, your decision making is a lot better. And
to the point of what we're talking about, the different styles of release, right? With yourself and with a partner. Even in that, yo, like, you still have a longing to where you won't be able to focus on decision making. And this is why, like now, like more so than ever, like at this stage of my life, like I preach semen retention, especially to married men. It's like, yo, if you're not having sex, yo, like, especially after what I've learned about the ejaculation process, what the energy level is, what it does to your psyche, to your confidence, all those things, you want to retain your life source. You understand what I'm saying? Because when it's necessary to give it, you want to be able to give it. Now, what we fellas don't realize is that each time that we ejaculate, we're like milliseconds. That's like the closest men are gonna get to death on a regular basis. Yes, it's a euphoric feeling, but in no actuality, you're losing a lot of you. Like, you're losing a lot of your body mass. You're losing a lot in that process. That's why it feels the way it does, right? We have a little scientific
Hey,
because I learned this stuff recently.
hey, listen. I'm over here thinking like, and I know this is probably bad, but I'm over here like, okay, then death might not be that bad. Nigga, I'm over here like, man, if that's what it is, then that's what it is.
Once the nut is close to death, bro, you know what? I'm not that might not be so bad. Yo, you're so
Might not be as bad as I
listen,
know I ain't the only one. Y'all
listen,
comment on, y'all push your comments on the bottom. I know y'all thought about it too. I ain't the only one. Don't leave me out here by myself.
yo, listen. Because like when I first heard the concept, I was thinking the same thing myself. I was like, well, death can't be that bad because busting a nut is one of the best things
Mm-mm.
ever. But but
Yes.
but in all seriousness though, like we took us on a tangent, but back to the topic about having sex withheld, like yo, if sex is being withheld, that means there is something wrong because naturally, yeah, naturally on both sides, and this sounds hard for men to even understand because we naturally put ourselves in our own shoes. It's hard for us to take ourselves out of our own shoes and step into a woman's position, but they want it just as we do. And if something is stopping them, they can't just snap the same way you couldn't just snap. Like me personally, KB, like I don't know about you, but no, I do know about it. We had this discussion already. We're not individuals to where if we're angry, that all of a sudden sex is gonna make a difference. If I'm upset or mad, you can't offer me sex to change my attitude. All that's gonna do is piss me off even more.
You
So
understand me?
so with that knowledge, right? You can't just snap from being angry to be ready to have sex. Like I don't understand those people who want to have an argument and fight all of a sudden now they're having sex. I'm not with that. Like I don't want to argue into like rough sex. That's not mine
Yeah.
in life.
That whole that
This is
makeup
just,
sex thing,
yeah,
I've
it's new.
I've never subscribed to.
Yeah.
I usually just show up that way.
Right. And
Why wait to have? Why wait to argue to have the best sex of your life? Like,
uh,
nah,
I
just
come
show up.
fully prepared and anger, fully full of anger, if that's the case, right? Prepared to exude that anger that
I
you look.
don't get it.
But we gotta understand, like, yo, yes, there are all different nuances to this, but like for the sake of the conversation about sex being withheld, right? Not just given. On no sides can you expect someone to stay through a long duration of time. I'm gonna sit here and be very honest with you. If you think that you
Very.
can do that, you're delusional. And especially in this day and age, y'all, like we got to understand that we're living in a time where information and life is moving at such a rapid pace, and we're still living and dealing with life with the old factory mindset like our grandfathers and cavemen had. Yo, our human brains haven't evolved, bro. Like we're still dealing with life with the same faculties. So we gotta adapt and realize, like, yo, nobody's gonna stick around for some bullshit, especially if you're not doing it honestly with some kind of
Hmm.
substantial reasoning behind it, right? And you gotta and you gotta have a plan with a person. If you have,
Absolutely. It's
go ahead, we saying
no. I was gonna. No, I was gonna say it's like kind of like biblical because the Bible talks about if you're gonna go into a fast and you're married. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Like one, it has to be an agreement between the both of you. And the Bible says as soon as that fast is over, y'all come together.
right.
You know what I'm saying? And y'all bust it wide open. You know what I'm saying? So but
That was a niggalation.
for if no, I was gonna say if that's the case, then that's the conversation that needs to take place to take you, like you said, into the further heights. That's absolutely understandable. And y'all, shoot, I'm coming with you. F it. Let me go up. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is you hearing from God? Like, look, let's go there together.
Right,
Um, but if you're just doing it out of spite or, if you're doing it just because, and it could be very like you're no longer attracted to that person, that becomes a problem because that person needs it still needs to be met. And if you're married now, that becomes an issue. And that needs to be a conversation that's held. Be like, I'm no longer attracted to you. You let yourself go. Let's go to the gym together. Let's motivate. Let's figure this thing out. And you know what I'm saying? Like the conversation needs to take place. But to just 8 months, 8 weeks to me sounds preposterous. And you know what I'm saying? But if that's the case, then wait, listen, we I'm gonna go out here, especially if and married men for some reason are in demand. And you know what I'm saying? Like if you're in for some reason women like men that other women like.
Mhm. The same way
So if
men.
no one has no interest in you, then you go ahead.
No, what are we saying? The same way what?
Now I was gonna say the same way that you know men like other women who men like are you know what I'm saying like you want someone that you want someone that you know that people want. You know what I'm saying? Like one ain't you know
Always.
that ain't nothing wrong with them.
Right. And a part of that, bro, is literally why I said like recently that it took me courage to marry the woman of my dream. Because if I would have let the surrounding circles, right, and the influence of what they thought a wife would be, I wouldn't be with the woman I'm with. Right. And this is why it's important to know what you want in life. I just had this conversation today with
Facts.
somebody. Like, your life is not yours, yo, until you question it. Everything was given to you, G. Your name was given to you.
Mm.
The culture was given to you. Everything about you was handed to you. You had no choice in not one part of the matter. Not one part. What's up, boo?
Hold up. Say hi, Kylie.
What's up, baby girl?
You know who? She
I
can't
can't
hear
hear.
you. You're my headphone.
That's right, I forgot. I
Say
like your hair though.
say hi to your Gotti. Say hi.
What's up, boo? Yeah, man.
Bye,
So, whoa, I lost train of thought that quick.
baby.
Um.
So
Anyway,
oh yeah, that's right. You gotta start everything was handed to you
oh
basically.
yes, yes. So
You until you
until,
question it.
until you question any of it, none of it is yours, right? Like, so even when it came down to what my wants were in my wife, like, yeah, I remember dudes talking about like, yo, she gotta have this, that, and the third physically. That was secondary to me. My first thought was, what's she gonna teach my children? Right? That was my natural what I wanted. But had I listened to somebody else, I would have put their wants in front of
Mm-hmm.
mine, and I would have picked my choice based upon what they wanted.
Based
Now,
on that.
the woman that I would have chose based upon their wants would have caused me to innately do nothing but cheat on her. Do nothing but cheat on her because physically she wasn't what I wanted. Now, if I allowed the circumstances and the people around me to continue to benefit off what I thought that was the best thing for me, I would have chose the woman that everybody else thought I should have been with, and what I would have did was damn my future. Because there's no way I can stand in front of anybody as an upstanding man and be honest and transparent and be like, yo, I'm a dude that's about family. Meanwhile, I'm trying to jump the bones like everybody else. So when it comes down to it, I had to make sure, like, yo, do I want what do I really want? And do I want this because I want it, or do I want it because my friends will okay it? Do I want it because my mom will approve it, or my dad will say it's all good, or my peoples will look at me a certain kind of way? Like, these are the kind of questions that we have to ask ourselves before we even get in situations like this. Because when these tumultuous times come, of there's no sex being involved and all these things happen, you got to have a core understanding of who you are and what you're about, because this is strong enough to throw you into a very ugly space.
That
I
that
know
foundation needs to be set. Give it
that.
to me.
And yo, KB, for real, I got like a great segue into next week's conversation, bro. You gave it to me. So should you marry someone based upon your physical attraction to
If you doing it just on that, you shit out of luck.
him? Because that's where I want to take this down conversation to next because I didn't marry based upon attraction alone, but damn it if it wasn't a top priority though, boy. It was top priority. It was one of the top priorities because I was with someone for a very long time that I wasn't physically attracted to. Everything else was phenomenal, but the physical attraction of us just being together and wanting each other's presence didn't exist. It just wasn't
Mm.
there. Now, on the outside version, right, we would have been the power couple, KB. Especially in the church house, we would have been it. We would have been them, right? But on the inside,
You'd have been busting it open everywhere else.
everywhere else. Yeah, we're gonna have
No,
conversations.
it's important, but it's definitely important. But just to jump onto the like, if it's just that alone, my guy, you messed up.
Right.
It's time to go see the magistrate. I'm just saying.
Yo, listen, y'all out there in the imperfect family world, y'all tap in with us. Let us know what you think about tonight's conversation, right? But as well as leading into next week's conversation about should you marry based on attraction alone, right? Like, and where should attraction be on your list of priorities too? That's another question I'm gonna present because, like I said, like I've been on both sides of the spectrum, and I'm so glad for my own personal future going forth. Even thank God right now, currently in present tense, that I chose the way I did because I truly desire my wife. You understand what I'm saying? Like there isn't a thought or a need of another. Like
Facts.
anticipation of the same figure is is invigorating. Like I'm longing to interact no matter how many times we interact. Like she asks me all the time, like, yo, it's not enough. It's never enough.
Mm,
But that's because of
love
the
it.
attraction, right? And we're gonna dive into that next week because I want to know, like, what else, like, where is that on
It's
the
it's
priority level?
it's a thing though, because our good sister and the philosopher Lauren Hill says, "How you gonna win if you ain't right within?"
Yeah,
It's a thing. You
right.
know what I'm saying? So it's we're gonna have fun with that one.
Oh yeah. So everybody out there in perfect father's world, in perfect family world, because we got our queens out there as well. Listen, y'all,
Hmm.
tap in with us because I really want to hear y'all opinions on these, man. Like this is gonna be a conversation that kind of lingers on into weeks on end. So let us know your thoughts. Like let us know your opinions and feelings on this conversation because I'm really intrigued by it. I really want to know and learn some more. Perspective is everything, and I feel like you can never have too many. Um, with that being said, yo, KB, man, phenomenal conversation. We got some more to dig in on
Yeah,
this.
absolutely, as always.
Word up, word up. What you got for the people we get up out of here, man?
um, do what makes you happy, and if that's withholding from somebody, that's not the right thing to do.
Mm,
Go your right way. Go your own way. Go ahead and dissolve that whole relationship in order for you can do what you do. That if that's what's going to make you happy,
right,
because staying with somebody and withholding it, there's no fun in that. There's no happiness there.
right.
Do what's going to make you happy and go on about your business so they could go on about theirs. And if withholding or if y'all need to come together to have a conversation to better the relationship, then that's the better route to go. Um, But do what makes you happy, bro. Like life is way too short. We seeing people leave this earth on a daily basis in droves. Like
Right.
your family members, my family members. Like so, do what makes you happy at the end of the day, and don't make that decision lightly.
Mm,
First, find out what actually makes you happy,
right.
and then make that decision.
And I echo those sentiments. My last words to guys today is this: on any level, right? We spoke about 4 different levels of relationship. On any level, I want to be clear about this. Sex is not a tool. Sex is not a weapon, and
Mm.
sex is not for leverage. I'm saying that again. Sex is not a
Shondo.
tool. Sex is not a weapon, and sex is not used for leverage. That's not the intent. If you're using sex for any of those reasons, you're violating laws, which is only going to cause grief for yourself and the party that you're dealing with. I advise you first and
Damn near
foremost.
prostitute.
Ooh, wow.
I said. I said it.
He,
I
he,
said it.
he did
Shots
say
fired.
pow.
Light the candle.
One thing I can say as well is this, guys, that be real with yourself first and foremost. To yourself, be true, and it's impossible for you to be a lie to another man. Because once you're honest with yourself, someone else's thoughts of you are just second thoughts. So they are. Once you be honest with yourself, it's easy to be honest with someone else. And once you are comfortable with telling yourself the truth, you're absolutely comfortable to tell somebody else the truth. So basically what I'm saying in a nutshell is get comfortable being uncomfortable with yourself first and foremost, and the rest will be easy. Good people,
Like those.
I appreciate each and every one of y'all. We love the support. We love everything about the family. Keep doing what you're doing out there for us. Keep sharing, keep liking, keep commenting. Keep keeping us relevant. Keep downloading this podcast. Keep liking us and sharing, man, because it helps us get this message out. It helps us keep doing what we're doing. And it also inspires us to keep doing what we're doing. Life happens to us the same way it
Like
happens
those.
to you. But what keeps us going is the
Hmm.
motivation knowing that we're bringing this content to not just help us, but help each and every one of you guys out there. So with that being said, guys, we appreciate you. And you guys know the energy and the vibe, but I'm going to tell you anyway, to the world, you're just a dad. But to your family, you are the world. So until the next time that we see you, be good to yourself and the ones around you. And if you can't be good to the ones around you, just get those folk from around you. Yo, this is RJD, the Imperfect Gentleman, and this has been the Imperfect Fathers Podcast. Y'all be blessed because we will. Peace, y'all.